Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. And today, my friends, we're back with the Slaanesh vs. Wood Elf showdown. It's going to be Prince Sigvald facing off against the Tree Man. Let's get this party started here on the Bleakspire Labor Camp. This has always been one of my favorite tooltips here. Like, though he appears to be little more than 16 summers of age, it's like in the early 2000s movies when they would be like casting actors in their like late 20s. Like the guy's like literally 28 years old, and they have him like playing a high schooler. Sigvald does not look like he's 16 in this picture. Like, you know, definitely could be like late 20s, like, but he, I mean, even still, he kind of looks like he could be around my age. Although, I don't know, I look a little bit crustier, but anyways, guys, let's get this party started. It's going to be myself on Slaanesh facing off against Arrow and the Wood Elves. And yeah, I haven't played Slaanesh in a long time, and it was kind of fun, I have to admit, getting a chance to play them. You know, they're often banned in tournaments, and there's a bit of taboo around playing them, right? So I don't get to try them often, but here we are. We got Chaos Warriors to Slaanesh with Hell Scourges, which I figured would be very good here, right? They themselves have 55 melee defense, which is like crazy. It's like chosen level stats with physical resist and immune to psychology. If they're facing off against like any Wood Elf infantry, I felt they would perform well. We do have a couple Marauder Horsemen just for battlefield control, more Hell Scourges, Prince Sigvald, as well as a Slaaneshi caster. And up on the high ground, we're going to be getting a Chaos Warrior to move up on that objective. For Arrow's army, it's really cool, and Arrowcrastic is the Dark Lord of the Swift Shiver Shards. He's been rooting for these units like since I can remember. I think they've always been his favorite unit, but he's got a couple of them. It looks like it's going to be 3, backed up by an Ancient Tree Man. So Ancient Tree Man's a really good tech piece, actually. It's strong enough to fight and endure against Sigvald. It has a ton of healing. It can definitely deal with Chaos Warrior type units with its armor piercing. I love that tech. And on top of that, look at that. We have some Glade Riders with Hagbane tips. I think both have Hagbane tips. Magic damage, so against any sort of demons they can perform. And immediately the Swift Shiver Shards are going to be controlling my Marauder Horsemen that move out. So it's time. It's Sigvald in time. So Sigvald's going to move out. Up on the high ground here, I do have my Chaos Warriors going to be heading up to the point. So the Dryads will decisively lose that fight. So they're going to be pulling back here. So going to be trying to get a triple cap here out of the gates. Marauder Horsemen going to be working up towards the high ground to try and avoid the missile fire from all these Deepwood Scouts. The Deepwood Scouts missile fire, though, it's only not 33 range, but 135 range. So it's not enough to really like shoot deep, but we'll see how it unfolds. Double Chaos Warriors setting up. Looks like Objective 2 is going to be landed on here by the Chaos Warriors. Other Chaos Warriors here moving on up, and Sigvald's just doing Sigvald things. Basically just using his presence to chase a bunch of units. You can see he's absorbing ammunition, which is great. And now Arrow's going to be coming out with the dreaded Blade Singers. Now this is such a cool tech piece. Blade Singers definitely can do some work. Head-to-head against any of these Chaos Warrior units, Hell Scourges will put up a good fight just because they're very strong. But what's cool is they do magic damage, so they'll be ignoring the 10% physical resist that the Slaaneshi units get. And yeah, they should be able to butcher a Chaos Warrior unit pretty decisively. So I do get up on the objective initially. Dryad's going to be pulling back. Blade Singer's on their way up. And this battle's off to a very fast start. Up here on the high ground, we get a very good isolation. The triple Marauder Horsemen just kind of throwing their javelins at a Dryad unit, which is very vulnerable. It certainly will pay dividends. But Arrow responds by bringing in a Treekin. Now for myself, I figured let's try this as an anti-large piece. Let's get the Soul Grinder of Slaanesh and use it to potentially take down that Ancient Tree Man here and see how that goes. Here we do get the Blade Singers. I use Acquiescence on them, which is going to be putting their melee defense down to 19, but even still a pretty good sandwich. It's going to be a Slaaneshi sandwich as the Chaos Warriors kind of getting wrecked by those Blade Singers, and the Blade Singers, despite the debuff, are not actually taking that much damage. So very good. I do get the Whip of Slaanesh, trying to, lower that unit's health a little bit, awakening the wood going down. Not doing too much damage, but it is going to be triggering the lore passive on both sides. So yeah, Blade Singer is causing a lot of havoc, though, up on the high ground. Dryads managed to capture that point. We do get him a little bit low with the Horsemen, and my damn Soul Grinder did not go so well. I'm able to juke some of the shots. I figured the armor on the Soul Grinder would be enough, but the Swift Shiver Shards do a ton of damage. Even against armor, they themselves just have a lot of DPS, so it is going to be forcing my Soul Grinder back, and then Ancient Tree Man just kind of establishing dominance wherever he's going. High ground's looking pretty good. No threats up here. It's basically just Dryads having a staring contest with these Chaos Warriors, and eventually there will be some sort of Wood Elf shenanigans to try and steal that point. That's why the Dryads are kind of staying up there, but for now, the Blade Singers able to win their fight, breaking down one Chaos Warrior. The other one is still in pursuit with Sigvald, but the Blade Singers are much quicker. They're able to run away. Very good execution here by Arrow, using the high mobility of the Blade Singers to kind of retreat, as the Chaos Warriors, obviously much slower, are going to be pulling back to the point. Now, Slaaneshi Chaos Warriors are fast. They have 33 speed compared to regular Chaos Warriors, which I think is like a little bit slower than that. But the Blade Singers bouncing back and forth, refreshing those charge bonuses, just absolutely nasty stuff. So now we're sending Devoted Marauders up here, trying to get some shielded boys just to grind, and I know Treekin won't kill them super quickly, so just trying to get some capture weight here if we can. Looking at the value trading, though, it certainly is favoring the hard wood. And the thing about the Wood Elves is they also do have access to healing via the Ancient Tree Man. So Blade Singer's on their way in, and now we're going to be charging them back. So Chaos Warriors with their Hell Scourges, hopefully they will be able to hold with their high melee defense, but overall, these very elite Wood Elf infantry seem to be cutting through them rather effectively. Granted, they're taking damage as well, but very good Earthblood Sigvald piling in, and the other Hell Scourges getting ready to hold. Now, we finally do get our anti-large fight. We get the Soul Grinder of Slaanesh starting to beat on the Ancient Tree Man, and with the Soporific Musk, its melee defense is going to be quite a bit lower. It does get knocked down. Did I get up again? Never going to get me down. Okay, I couldn't help myself. But the Soul Grinder, yes, that's what we were talking about. Continuing to do some decent damage here, but the healing really kind of in the back part of my mind here as Earthbloods and the Awakening of the Wood can be procced to give that Earthblood passive. Trying to push back these missiles right now, so you can see the two Marauders instead of going for the high ground objective, which was heavily entrenched by the Tree Men, or the Tree Kin. The Devoted Marauders going to be trying to push back these Swift Shiver Shards to allow my anti-large attacks to really shine. And we do use the Pavane of Slaanesh, which does some damage, but it's not about the damage, it's about sending a message. No, it's about rampaging this character so we can't heal. And we get a big surround. Now, honestly, if we kill the Tree Men here, we probably win the game. It would be very, very tough to come back. However, my Soul Grinder is a little bit low. Sigvald is slippery, trying to get in there. We do also have the Allurus on her Seeker. The Tree Man is holding firm. Earthblood going down, giving him a bit of HP. It's not a regrowth, but he's buying time, right? He's just buying time for the archers to come in and in guard mode. They're able to finish off my old Soul Grinder here, and it looks like my press of the Devoted Marauders, they were taken apart by the Dryads. A little bit of missile fire from the Swift Shiver Shards, certainly the perfect medicine for dealing for that Slaaneshi plague. Middle objective still in our hands, and we do have some Hellstriders coming up, so everybody's favorite unit. I figured, hey, let's get the Hellstriders in here. I could chase down his missiles, but he would honestly be able to kite me and probably drag me through the mud here. So the Hellstriders going to be diving into the fight here, trying to surround the Tree Men and break the Blade Singers with the rear charge, but at the end of the day, they're not working out so well. You know, the Tree Kin do have really high armor, and they also have physical resist, so they are able to mitigate a lot of the efficiency of those guys. Up at the high ground point, getting a little bit messy. Blade Singers did come up here, and Chaos Warriors with Hell Scourges were able to fight them off in tandem with the Hell Scourge one. So we brought the Hell Scourge units in. We didn't get to see that, but they did come in and help, and we were able to win the 2v1 or the 2v2 right here. But now there's Tree Kin coming in, which could change the dynamic of this fight. But overall, the high ground engagement has gone in our favor, and we are maintaining a double cap. So we're sitting at 462 to 174, but it's looking like a bit of a rout in the middle, honestly. Here we get more Hellstriders to Slaanesh trying to dive into the missile pieces, and I knew I was behind at this point. I knew between, you know, just the current state of the battle as well as the healing that he had, that the true value on the battlefield was a little bit scary for me, but I was kind of banking on the fact that he's going to run out of ammo here, and then my Slaaneshi infantry would just start trading a little bit better, right? That was kind of my game plan, and now these Hellstriders are getting a pretty good engagement. A lot of the Deepwood Scouts are being dragged down, Devoted Marauders are hot on their heels. Hopefully we'll be able to hold it as up on the point here now. We have the Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh getting ready to fight off the Dryads. But I certainly can't afford to lose this point. Here we see Arrow maneuvering up. High ground point still in our control, but it's very, very shady up here. As these Hellscourge Warriors fighting tooth and nail, we do get the Hellstriders of Slaanesh kind of circling around the back. So I was getting around the rear side of the army, getting ready to charge in here. And I think he summons in some sort of an answer soon. I'm not sure, but I saw he didn't move the Blade Singer, so I figured he didn't notice those. So I was like, all right, let's get a rear charge. Let's break the leadership. Dryads are at 8 leadership. Tree Kin, unfortunately, very, very stalwart. But I really, really need to hold this point. This is super big. Up at the high ground, managing to hold this, but not for too long. Looks like the Hardwood is going to be able to maneuver up here with the Dryads and Blade Singers and Tree Kin. Tree Kin are a very underrated unit. I think that they're very, very good. They just give you this presence, this durable presence that the Wood Elves often lack. And they don't have like crazy capture weight or anything like that, but yeah, they're really, really durable and hard to finish. So Wood Elves get a pretty good stranglehold on this objective. Prince Sigvald just kind of cackling down here. Up on the high ground, though, we also start to lose this fight. Like, it's just all over the place. And I'm behind on value, currently by about 1,500, but in reality, it's probably closer to 2,800. Because of the healing. And honestly, Slaanesh is out of steam, ladies and gentlemen. We look across the battlefield, there's going to be a couple desperate Hellstrider attempts, but very well played to Arrow. We were talking beforehand. He was mentioning that he's had really good success against Slaanesh with Wood Elves, and I'm super happy to hear that, right? Because Wood Elves are often perceived as a faction that's very hard to play and not always the strongest, but the fact that they can potentially have a good matchup or an even matchup versus one of the strongest factions in the game is very, very encouraging to hear in terms of like balance and all that. So, but this game's basically over. I'm going to be scrapping with Prince Sigvald as well as the Allurus down here. Hellstriders, you know, doing some cheeky plays up in the high ground, being overpowered and all that sort of good stuff. But you'll notice that he didn't bring any Glade Riders, nor did he bring any Wild Riders, right? Which is very smart. The Glade Riders with the bows are good because they can kind of kite you and drag you back a little bit. But yeah, you see, we're kind of bouncing back and forth between objectives, trying to snake him up here. We have the 2 horsemen, but really these are just like desperation plays. So hopefully you don't mind the fast forwarding. I do tap out at that point. GG, well played. Awesome game by Arrow. You know, I played that matchup with Hadries. It must have been like 2 months ago, and I remember the Wood Elves winning that one as well. So like in the back of my mind, I figured there would be some play there, but I do still think Slaanesh, it's like, at best case scenario, I feel like that's like a 50-50 matchup. I still probably think like a good Slaanesh player, somebody who plays them a lot, would probably have a way to deal with this type of play. But even still, I mean, maybe not. Maybe the Wood Elves are favored in this matchup, which I would love. I would love that. Dude, look at Arrow's dreaded Deepwood Scout value. 1,500, 21 and 21. Ancient Tree Man, just a Chad, tanking like all my army. Yeah, it was crazy stuff. Super well played. Now, in retrospect, I think trying to kill the Tree Man was a mistake. I think that's partially what cost me the game. I think we just do not use the Soul Grinder and you just summon out like 500 Marauders instead and just swamp all the points. I think that's really the way that you would win this matchup or try to win it. But even still, it was a fun attempt trying to drag down the Tree Man. And hey, it almost worked. GG. See you guys next time. That's it. Well played to Arrow. Always fun to see the champ play. And we'll see you all on the other side. Take care.